should probably mute the audio so I don't get copyright strikes. Oh, that's the store. Okay. God damn it, I haven't touched this game in... Oh my god. Options, gameplay. Right? No, what the fuck? Oh boy. Ah. That should work. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I'm stupid. Okay. Going to post this to Twitter. Superior UCF, hello, how are you doing? Gonna wait for more people to come in before we start going into the game. Yeah, I did like 2K19. It was fun. Better than 2K20, for sure, in terms of creation suite and the game working as intended. Gonna wait till like there's at least 5 or 10 people in here before we start doing it. For those who are just joining the broadcast, today we are making championship belts in the 2K19 Create a Championship mode. This is going to be live and basically uploaded after I'm done with everything, and maybe over an hour, depending on how things go. And I will be uploading these belts after I'm done creating them, so you guys can download them on here, on my new account, Thunder God of Caw. So you guys could have the pleasure of being able to have them in your own game, because 2K20 does not have this mode. And I don't know when it will, but these are what I was planning to make for 2K20 at launch. could have helped if I like marketed this more and made this better. Alright, so we're gonna go to championship mode. I'm fine with just 3 people, it's fine. We're gonna go to custom championships, as anyone else would. And I think what we're gonna make first is the IWGP United States Championship, because the strap is already here. We're gonna remove these plates and stuff. Shit, okay, hold on. Let me see if I can change the settings. Broadcast settings. I don't know how to change the settings from here. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. So we're gonna go with this base setting. It's original championship 1 strap. I don't know the belt it's made from, but whatever. So we have all these logos from my con, all the belt logos we have here. First I'm going to discuss how belt art works. I have this picture of the championship belt art from the IWGP United States Championship. Feel free to take a gander if you want. I'll make this as large as I can. So most belt art is made in vector, which is straight black and white, no pixelation, not a rasterized image. It's clean, and even as you zoom in, it's just as clean as it was zoomed out. The difference between a raster image and a vector image. A raster image is what this basically is right now, because it was uploaded as a PNG or a JPEG or whatever it was, and converted into an online image, then would translate into a raster image. The difference between a vector and a raster is that a vector can be printed on literally anything and be just as clean as it was on the computer screen. A raster image, you'd see the pixels and the JPEGiness of it. So something like this would be considered a vector image, but I was given it as a raster image, which is fine for this purpose. The way emboss works is black and white. The blacks go down and the white goes up. So if I do this, all the white goes up and all the black goes down. That's why you get the little shininess right there. And I turn off the color and make it transparent basically, and you'll get this little bumpy embossy texture that is called a bump map. And I got nobody watching, but that's okay, whatever. So here I have, you can see 2 straps, right? This one and this one over here. This one is just the strap texture and nothing behind it. This has a red background around it. Now the reason I do this is because when you bleed it over this edge over here, you can see it trying to conform to the model's texture, and it'll bleed over it. If I didn't have that, it would just be transparent, and whatever was left over would be left over, and it wouldn't work correctly. So right now we're just trying to shape the texture into the belt perfectly, or as perfect as we can. When I create these belt texture maps or whatever, I create them through Photoshop using the strap in-game as a template, and then I just basically draw with lines as the texture goes on to create the strap, essentially. The border, these little shell base things, it's kind of hard, I can't really maneuver it, but those little half circles are periods as a text, like a text period. When you make a sentence, it ends in a period. That is text wrapped around a line to create a camouflage stamp tool like in leather, and the stars I got off Google and embossed them into the texture themselves. Now the way the material works, it's just a texture on top of a texture with lower opacity, causing a little bit more of a bump change. Matte and stuff like steel have a shine to it because it is the amount of light that is being passed through the texture itself. The way lighting works, especially with like plastic and steel, like these materials in game, there's this little thing called reflective map channels in 3D, and the reflective map channel is basically what you see in that little thumbnail for the plastic. It is a whole room that they shoot in 360 and wrap it around into a ball, a sphere, if you will, and that is what the reflection is basically showcasing when you see that. A little shine right there. That shine is those little reflections that you see in the little thumbnail of the actual picture. And the reason why some of them are different than the rest are because they are put on top of like a blending mode of noise, essentially. Like especially with steel, it's pretty easy to replicate steel look in 3D. You just throw a little shine modifier on it and throw a noise modifier, and then mess with the noise modifier so it looks like streaking, and that gives it like a little brushed steel look. And then you get something like this, but with less texture involved and less detail. But we're just going to go with default for this purpose. Don't be afraid to share the stream with anyone else who wants to know how I make belts. If not, that's alright. We're doing just fine. So you might be asking right now, why are you using a strap texture with plate holes cut out? Well, that's a simple explanation that I'll show you in just 1 second. It's important to try to get your strap texture to match perfectly from one side to the other. Otherwise, it's just going to look choppy and unfinished, and it's not going to look super great. I think that'll do for now. As you can see the bump. When I make belts in game, I usually try to take the emboss down to like 11 for specific belts, because it ruins the artwork. When I used to make belts for WWE2K games back in like 2K16, or not 16, 17, 18, and 19, I wouldn't use belt art like this. I would grab pictures online and basically make it a transparent PNG, and then just add a metal material and call it a day. So something like this I would create in Photoshop as a vector design, and then create some sort of intricate details around it that would match the actual belt art for the actual belt. This belt right here is about 98% accurate. Like most of my belts, they're near accurate, but they're not 100% accurate because I don't have the actual belt art, and it's hard to recreate that. I have two forms of this belt right here. I have one that is a solid color with just the emboss on top that I made in Photoshop. This is from the belt art I showed previously. As you can see, there's a dark shadow around that. That is called a drop shadow. I use a drop shadow in the texture itself when I create it in Photoshop to create the illusion that the belt is more than just a flat piece of image on a strap, because, you know, they don't have the belt plates in this game or any game really. So it's hard to make belts look real using real pictures, um, but it's not that big of a deal. So when I go with something like this, I would go with steel and it would look okay. It's not going to look great. Steel bump isn't going to change everything, it's just changing the material and changing the just the material. It's not going to look any different. I wouldn't use plastic for something like this either. It would just be steel, and I would change the emboss just a little bit. It's not going to be the end of the world if you play with the emboss. This has 0 emboss, as you can see, and there's absolutely no detail coming off the belt. So if you just bump it up to about like 10 or 11 or 12, you start to see some of that detail. But if you go to the extreme of 100, it's going to look really shitty. Mainly because it's over-exaggerating the amount of emboss that's actually on there and creating its own texture. It's not going to look great. It's probably not going to look great in the game. So we're going to stick with about 16 to 18. If you want to see what it looks like without emboss or any color, that is what that would look like. I usually do this before I put the transparent belts or plates I made for the belt, just so I can get a feel for the area of where the belt plates are supposed to go, especially with something as detailed as this, with all the stars in between the plates and stuff. I ran into an issue when I was making the Impact World Championship the other day. These were placed incorrectly, and it caused the strap to have some sort of divide in between the plates, and it didn't look great. So I had to go back into Photoshop and fix that up. If your belt has like no detail on it and you want to go ahead and throw all the emboss on there, all 100%, go right ahead, man. It's your belt. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you how I do it. Now, I have almost all the plates on there, and you may be thinking, well, it looks great so far, why can't you just upload it? Well, because it's not entirely done yet. We still have those transparent plates that I mentioned a few seconds ago, and those are going to come into play in just a few moments. When you make a belt like this, with just the belt art and stuff like this, and you emboss and whatnot, you're going to want to put emboss on the plates themselves on a separate layer, so that all of the plate has a drop shadow on the back of it, so that when you go back into it to see the transparent layer, which would be this one, I know it doesn't look great, there's a black. This doesn't necessarily show the reflectiveness at all. You're right. But see, that drop shadow is still there because it's been a part of the actual texture for the whole process of making this. We're gonna change all this. I'm just gonna trust my intuition and think that that one is correct without going back into it and retouching it. Can move that over just a little bit. Oh, yeah, see, that's why you double check your work. Always double check your work, because otherwise you're going to have some flub up like this and the plate art is to the far left, or it could be even incorrectly spaced because of the difference in textures that you have. Something along the lines of that could create something like this weird deformation. And it's not that big of a deal. We have a drop shadow. It's going to hide most of the plate anyway, so not nothing I'm too worried about. This is what it looks like without the special effects I'm putting into it. Now when you have something like this, it's just these embossed lines and some of the color. This is what I would call a paint layer, because when you keep this, let me use the main plate. When you keep this a steel texture, steel material, it's going to act like steel. And realistically, a belt that has paint on it, the paint is not reflective like steel or metal or anything like that. It may look like a plastic, but what I've been using is vinyl, because that looks more like paint and less like steel. But then you get all these gold bits around it, all that little texture and detail around it, and they're all vinyl too. So you would have to make 3 separate logos, and I'm not about to do that. No. So we're going to keep it a steel for now, because I don't feel like messing with the whole texture itself just to make the colors a separate picture, just so I can get a nice reflectiveness on my belts. Now we're going to go into reliefs, and this is where it gets tricky. You gotta find the right one. If I can find it, I think it's this one I've been using. Now, I will just do this right here. Just gonna leave it right there. The material's default. We're not gonna make it steel. You see the steel? See how flat it is? See how just the color and the reflective map channel isn't as apparent as it is on default? That's because this actually has a different reflective map channel than the steel material, believe it or not. That's why it looks like this. So we're going to use this for our metal texture that's going to go behind the belt, and that's why it's going to make it look so great and so good in game. But you got to zoom it out so it stretches all over the plates, and that's why we have the custom strap, because not only does it give an accurate strap, the IWGP US has a black backing and a red front leather. So when you make a custom strap for your belt and you wanted to have 2 different tones of backing, make the front a different color than the back and change the in-game strap color to whatever you want so that it can have that color backing that you want. And you have the color back of the leather strap already as a texture logo to put on top of that. We're going to do this. I believe this should be fine. There's a guy on Xbox I found this technique from, cutting out the strap basically and putting this behind everything. And look at that. It looks so much better than that flat garbage that was there before. Oh, we're not done though. We gotta, forgot about the gold tip. I made this custom in Photoshop. There was no template that I used. I just followed the whatever I could find for reference. I'm just gonna put that right there. Now, unfortunately, this area is not cut out for a reflective piece like that relief we used. So it's just gonna be a steel material. Oh, that's concrete. And we might change the emboss. I think we can keep it that way. So now we have the complete IWGP United States Championship. I already took screenshots of it beforehand. I may mess with this strap a little bit because we do have some differentiating overlapping textures that aren't exactly blending well. Actually, you know what, that could be why. When you move the logos in game, make sure they're correctly placed. Otherwise, you're gonna get some weird nonsense going on. Alright, I think this is good to go. Now, for those who do want a clean version, you could let me know and I'll upload a clean version so you don't need to mess with all of this nonsense. But for those who want this, this is what you're gonna get. And then we will test them out in game to see how they look and perform, basically. I'll be making 3 other belts this stream too. Along with this, we'll be making the IWGP Intercontinental Championship and the AEW Championship, and then the Impact Championship. I do have a IWGP Heavyweight Championship main plate, but I do not have the rest of the belt. That is still in progress. I was hoping to get it done this weekend, but I got some other projects going on too, so that's just how it's gonna be. Entrance name, oh man, do all this shit. That's basically how it would look in game, depending on the lighting of the arena, but this is never fun. And that would basically translate to International Wrestling Grand Prix United States Champion. Even though it's just a United States title, IWGP would be the acronym. Can't get letters. Alright, finalize, and look at that. First belt done. Next, we're going to make the AEW Championship. We're going to use the Cruiserweight Championship template. The one thing I don't like about this strap is that the belt tip is already included all the way around. And when you go to put a texture on it, the texture will fade into black around where the belt tip is. And you'll see that when I put the strap on this thing. I started making my straps split in the middle to keep all the detail, especially when it comes like the IWGP or the Intercontinental title. That's one single strap. I noticed I started losing more detail once I put it as one whole logo instead of two logos to keep that detail, especially when I do that tooling around the edge. So we're gonna go ahead and punch this around here. This one's a lot easier to make. I've made this 3 times already. And the middle of the belt is really easy to find, because you just find the point. And if you're going to use this method, I will say that you don't have to do one way or the other. You can put the material down before you put the straps down, but that's totally up to you. The leather doesn't look entirely great, so we're not going to use that. We're going to keep the emboss the same, and we're going to flip it on the other side. I strive to make my belts as ring accurate as I can, whether it comes to the amount of stamps it says of a certain company's name, or how many jewels are on one plate or not. Everything is as accurate as I can get it. And you may disagree, that's up to you, but I'm not gonna complain. I make these belts for fun. I haven't made a single profit on, well, my already made ones. You see that fading right there? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I don't know why, but this belt is basically cursed, and that'll always do that. So I make the actual strap black. Ah shit, I just lost the belt strap. Not that big of a deal. We can just put it back down. Yeah, I told everyone about the stream and no one's here. Realistically, the strap would end here, but I can't tell because of a fucking tip. Okay. I'm gonna squish the other strap down a little bit too, just to make it a little bit more even, because you get that bleeding edge of the emboss from the Photoshop I did. And it doesn't look super great. Okay. Well. I'm not gonna worry about it. If the edge is supposed to meet the edge, it's supposed to meet the edge. I'm not gonna cry too much. Okay, so now we're gonna get to the plates. And I do not have a solid color of the plates. That's okay. We're just gonna make do with this. Now this one's gonna be a little different. I'm gonna lower the opacity on the main plate itself. Now this specific design I created by hand. I studied the picture of Bret Hart holding the belt for so long to get to this exact design where I have right now. And the amount of people I've seen use this as a bootleg version of their replica from like Pakistan or whatever, it's honestly appalling. The amount of people that are using this exact design, if not just a little similar. Because you see those little designs right there where it says world, I found that in a text pack from, who was it? It was Matt Baker, I think was his name on Twitter. Matt Baker, the Baconator, that's not his name. He does a lot of design work in Affinity Pro, not the League, the editing design program. But he suggested that I use this, or me, he suggested that anyone use that design text font thing for organic fonts for belt design, and I thought that fit perfectly for this belt, because at the time I could not see clearly as to what those designs were, so I just made my best bet and took a shot in the dark. Okay, might be a little off, but that's okay. This was definitely one of my favorite belts to make in terms of the detail that went into it. Mainly because of how it came out. I spent a lot of time reworking this belt, trying to make it look as realistic as I could. And I feel like it's about 80% accurate. The size of the plates I can't really change. I've seen people have the plates all the way up to here basically on a real belt. And it's probably just as good as you're gonna get it. But you can't do that on here, no. Because of what just happened. It's kind of hard to see what's going on right there. I know you can see the other side of the strap, but it'll be fine. Can always fix it later. Okay, now we're gonna get the side plate again. This is basically where the magic happens. I think I lost the side plate. There we go. Now the background of this belt is not going to be gold. It is going to be silver, but we're going to do like a silverish gold to off balance the two colors because I don't like too much contrast on this belt. It's nicer when it's in between. Gives all that detail the time to shine it needs, basically. So we're just gonna go over here, go down a little bit more, and I think that should be good enough. Oh, didn't want to do that. Nope. Oh my god, my fingers are going too fast. There we go. Okay, so now you can see the belt basically pretty much done. It's got a, oh, what is that? Is it the person's head? Oh god, I don't think I accounted for that. My bad. There we go. Let's get that out of here. Okay, that's pretty much done. I'm gonna go back into this and change the textures a little bit, because the textures on the strap aren't necessarily meeting up with the textures that are on the strap. I don't know why this looked better last time. Maybe I overlooked something. Just 1 second, folks. Okay, I think it might be the strap. Because the plates are exactly where they're supposed to be. Left and right. But I think it might just be the strap. Who knows? I'm gonna change the left side just a little bit. I think I might extend it upward. No. Well, I mean, I already uploaded this belt on 2K19 on my other account. But it shouldn't matter as I don't think I've ever noticed that. We'll just save what we have now and download the other belt that I made that I think is a little bit more superior. That looks fine. Maybe it is just my plate placement. Man, what happened? But yeah, this is basically the finished product, and I use air quotes loosely. The back is not purple, but the plates are basically done, so we're just going to leave it as this. We're going to look at the one I downloaded or uploaded and try to compare and see what I did wrong. Alright, we're going to make the Impact Championship next. And I used Championship 23 strap. Just go ahead and select the template and remove the side plates. This strap does not include a belt tip, and there was no belt tip on the actual belt itself, so I don't need to worry about it. We're going to use these ones. Tested this already, so it should work perfectly fine. May need to reinvent that AEW one, who knows. I plan to remake the belt itself with 100% accurate art. It's going to be a challenge, mainly because I don't own the art, so I'm going to try to remake it. Hopefully nothing bad happens. So when this happens, this is called a snap box, where the snaps are, those 4 snaps are, that's called a snap box. Realistically, you wouldn't want that on a strap, especially if it's a custom made one, because you don't want your work to look horrible, I guess would be the word. But for our purposes, it's fine. And realistically, it's not like it'd be the first time a snap has been exceeded or preceded the snap box on a real wrestling championship belt. They usually add more snaps to belts for wrestlers who have a smaller waist, so they could snap it around their waist easier, but now they're using like Velcro or something like that. It's not a really pretty sight. I don't like the look of Velcro on belts. I'd rather have leather and snaps and keep it traditional. And you could use the argument that belts back then had Velcro for guys like Macho Man Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior, who had abnormally small waists. Apparently, I don't know. Okay, so we got an issue with that strap not connecting all the way. Just gonna do this. Everything everything should be fine. And I'm just gonna swap back to this one and squish it down a little bit. Not that big of a deal. That's why it's always trial and error for these types of things. Look at that. It's almost perfect. There we go. That's fine. Okay. Now I'm just going to add the relief. And in art, a relief is a etched image, basically, where parts would ascend and descend, basically. So these would be a relief plate. The black is where it goes down, and those shiny bits on top of those guys is where it would go up, and that'd be a relief in print. A stamp, like custom stamps that people make sometimes, those are relief art. Like the rubber stamps your mom would like stamp onto an envelope or whatever. That should be spaced okay. And we got a little bit of bleeding, but it's not noticeable, I don't think. We'll have to wait. I don't want to edit it. If anyone has any comments, go ahead and feel free to sound them off. Other than, why isn't one watching? Because I don't have an answer for that. Now on this belt, I tried to make a drop shadow around the whole plate, but it wasn't big enough, so we're just going to go with what it is. This one I made completely by hand. I used a pin as reference and just traced the design onto it. Why do that? That's not that bad. Okay. Here's the main plate. I think I changed the material to vinyl last time, and it looked fine. Especially with that blue paint there. Looks like paint, not like steel. But because there's texture on it, I'm just gonna go ahead and use steel. I'm gonna keep the emboss. We're gonna see what it looks like without any. Looks pretty flat. At about 9, 10. Okay, we're getting somewhere. At about 60, I think we went too far. Probably gonna go back down to like 19 or 18. That's fine. And now for the side plates, how I made these side plates, I basically just trace on top of stuff. Looks good. No, steel or vinyl. I still like the look of steel for some of the parts, as it doesn't look too flat. Well, So with specific materials that you put on a logo in game, you'll get a different lighting outcome afterward. So with the vinyl we put on here on the left side plates, they look more washed out and they look brighter as compared to the main plate, which is still all metal basically. It's steel and the initial material that we put behind it as a relief to give it that extra reflectiveness. I tried making the border for the strap overlap the edge of the belt black, so you wouldn't get that gold bleed from the relief. Hopefully it's not too apparent in game, but I think I'm going to make the left side plates steel material instead of vinyl, just because I don't like the look of the lighting in game. It'd be different if it was just the blue paint, but when you upload something like that, you get this weird fuzziness around the logo because it compresses the image into this format so you can use it in game. Still as a PNG, but it's like a highly compressed PNG. We're gonna go out of 15 for this one, and I'll be right back. Alright, we are back. We're going to add the other side plate onto this, and there's no steel tip or gold tip at the end of the strap, so we don't need to add that. Just trying to match the textures to these cutout spots I got right here. Alright, and this still has 100% opacity. I don't know if I'm going to drop it down or not. Mainly because it's just a little detail, not too much, not too big of a deal. And it's the paint that matters. I don't want the paint to look reflective or as reflective as the background. And we're going to change these to like a gold color. And these are snaps. Those are female snaps and these are male snaps. You can't tell, but that's what they are. And one of my biggest complaints when it comes to making belts is that you get all these little rivets already on the strap for no purpose. They are to replicate what a replica belt would look like when it has the screws on the back of the strap, so you can unscrew the plates and put them on real leather if you want. Up to you. Not that I'm knocking anyone who has them, but the fact that the game developers who make this game every year decide to put these on the back of a strap, waste polygons and space when you can't even see it. Especially these. When it comes to leathering a strap or something like that, the female snaps, they go in first, and you put a backing on top of it, so you don't see the back of the snaps at all, because they're underneath the leather. The only snaps you would see are the male snaps, because that's how you connect the two. These snap in to the male snaps over here. My bad. I think I called these the female snaps. And these are the females. The females are the ones that are shown because they have to clip through to the other side for the belt to snap correctly. And I think there's only 2 belts that don't have these little screws on the back that I don't like. The Cruiserweight Championship does not have it, and I think the WWE Women's Tag don't have it either, but that's only on 2K20. Alright, and now we're gonna make the IWGP Intercontinental title, which I don't think I uploaded to the Community Creations before. It's using the same strap number 23. The strap I created 2 games ago, using Defrac's strap when he uploaded his version of the belt. And all I did was add the camouflage tooling around it and these snap boxes, and I kind of made them accurate, but it's all one strap, so it's easy to put on, not hard to fuck up. Now, there are technically 2 versions of this belt I could make. There is the current version, which is all white, front and back. The one that Chris Jericho held, the one that I don't watch a lot of New Japan. I forget who the current holder is. I think it's Jay White, Switchblade guy. I think he's the current holder. I'm not entirely too sure. I do not remember. But I know that the new one that was made in response to Naito destroying the previous version, and the plates did not look super great after that, so they went with like a bootleg version, like a Pakistani copy of the belt that someone made illegally, by the way, because they don't own the art to that. That's what a bootleg is. But yeah, as you can see, the texture for this is not super great because it is one giant texture. And my cat is trying to crawl into my lap. What would you like, Mr. Mittens? Do you want to watch me make belts too? I think you'd be my only viewer right now. So I like to increase the emboss on this just because you can see the detail of it after I crazily increase the emboss, but not by much. I think he wants to get down off the bed. So after this, I think all of the plates are one texture too. They are. Okay, so I have 3 versions of this. I have a dirty version, which I would consider the Naito version. The plating basically rubbed off from the gold plating. That is that, basically. And left you with a silver plated gold residue plate. It looks nice in game, but we're just gonna go with the transparent version, and we're gonna make the OG 24 karat version of the belt. Now, I did not actually make this belt art for this belt right here. I found it online, Google Images, trying to search for belt art for this belt, and I succeeded. But it was the only version of this belt that I saw, or at least the only version of this that had art. For whatever reason, it had art, and I couldn't tell you why. So we're gonna knock the opacity down just a smidge to like at least 210. This will let the material on the back shine through just a little bit, just so you can get all the nice textured and detail of the relief. Yeah, but I can't find the belt art for this again. I don't know where it is. I don't know how I found it. I found it on a blog forum post. This guy has his own blog post, and he was talking about art from Japan in general, and talking about professional wrestling, and he uploaded like the black and white vector art for this. It was really low res, but it was enough for me to make this belt into 2K. And I don't make belts IRL. I wish I did, but I'd probably get into some legal troubles with it, just because I don't own the copyright to most of the stuff that I upload or claim to make or whatever. So that's it, just 3. You can see a little detail right there popping out, but we're just gonna do that so we can get the drop shadow. Look at that. How beautiful that thing is. You can kind of see the gold on the edges and stuff like that. I really don't know how to fix that, but I think when I made the strap, I didn't, well, because I didn't make the strap, that's the issue. Just use defrax versions. We're just gonna bleed it over just a little bit, just so you can't see it anymore. I will fix the plates too, so it's not that big of an issue. But yeah, big shout out to Defrag for letting me use his strap, I guess. He's got all of his assets on a Google Drive folder that anyone can access, basically. But I got this from like a screenshot that I took off of like 2K16 or something like that, or 2K17. And then I think 2K18 or 2K19, I was like, alright, no, it was 2K18, I got it. 2K19 is when I uploaded the belt to Community Creations. And there we go, look at that. We're gonna change the name. WTP. I see. I was really hoping I'd get more people in this stream just so I could, get people talking and asking me questions and stuff like that, but like, whatever. Let's see, International Wrestling. Grand Prix. Intercontinental, and it'd be like that.
International Wrestling Grand Prix Intercontinental
Champion. There, she got to finish the sentence there. So that's fine. And like I said before, I'm not too worried about the snaps being over the snap box because it's accurate to how some of them are in real life. It just adds it, makes it more authentic. So we're going to edit. I think I said I was going to make 4 belts, right? I did make 4 belts, okay. Except for the AEW Championship, we're gonna just go ahead and copy over what I already uploaded before. But all 3 of these are done. I gotta change the name of that. First, I gotta go to the community creations. And we're gonna go to championships, most downloaded, and go to the IWGP Intercontinental title. This is mine. I used Defrax art for his plates and put it on a strap, and then boom, 18,000 downloads later, just like that. So I don't think I uploaded the... When did I upload this? Oh wow. Yeah, that was a while ago. I do not think this is the current version of it. So we're just going to go ahead and meddle with the one that I created in here, because all the title information and data basically is on my other account, and I want to be able to give you guys some authentic. I just don't think I had, like, this strap shown over the plates like that. It just looks weird to me. I do not know how I got it so perfectly before. Because the strap on the, or the plates on the right look okay. Kinda. Huh. Maybe it's the strap length, I don't know. There's a lot of hullabaloo that's going on in this thing. Works fine for me. Oh, right. We gotta change the back of this to black. And pure black, I mean, that's what that dark purple nonsense. So I got some bleeding on the edge right there. Can't really help that, but whatever. Alright, so we got 4 belts made. 2 of them have names, the other 2 don't. I should probably put a name on them, right? Otherwise, no one's going to search for them. It's going to look championship. What is championship? This is a cheat. Basically, you just delete one letter and add the letters you want before it. So that way it doesn't delete the whole thing. Saves you time from typing in the whole championship thing. Heavy. There we go. Impact World Heavyweight Champion. I don't know if it's World Heavyweight or if it's just World Champion. Or we're doing World Heavyweight. I called in from work for this, bro. I called in from work so I can work on my belt and then be able to have enough energy to work on these belts. Now, before I upload these, I kind of want to download some CAWs and throw some belts on them, do a fatal 4-way, and just see all the belts in the entrances. You know, that's all I really want to do, is have them all look nice in game. What is this one? The AEW. Should I add the tilde? Because here goes the champion or whatever. That's probably going to be the only... The closest thing you can get a dabbing is the AEW's AWA. Plates aren't perfect, but that's okay. I'm going to remake them anyway. So I gotta do some research. I don't know if there's a good Lance Archer call on the CC, so I'll just use like John Moxley or Dean Ambrose. And then, is he in this game? Is he in 2K19? I think he's in 2K19. But if we use AEW gear, I think I might download Defrax call and then use a Chris Jericho call or attire. And Sami Callihan, I think, is the Impact champion. Current IWGP IC champion. It is Jay White. Okay, that's what I thought. So we're gonna download a Jay White call, a John Moxley call, a Chris Jericho AEW attire, something like that. I don't know. Oh, and Sami Callihan. So we're gonna look it up. Gonna do that. Should get a good Sami Callihan out of this. I don't know who this is. Yeah, I don't know who that is. That does not look like Sami Callihan whatsoever. What is it with all these knockoff Sami Callihan calls? What the fuck? And there's 4 pages, and no one's uploaded a good Sami Callihan. Oh boy. This game's been out for over a year, and no one's... These are all the same call. What the heck? I don't think that's what he looks like. Like, I know he doesn't look like this. Like, at all. I don't want to sit through... We're just gonna download it. John Morrison call. Johnny Mundo, I guess. Johnny Impact. That's a good one right there. Oh, it's like the same one. Oh shit. Better be the same creator. It is not. Re-upload. Claim no credit. Ah. Cool. this is the original. I guess we'll download. Come on. Unlock everything. Yes. Now let me download a call. My God. You must have this person purchase. Like, I care. Who else are we gonna download? Dean. There we go. Is it ELY or LEY? Who's this? He's a good guy. You got the pants? He does have the pants. Wait, why did I download him? Oh, right. Lance Archer. Forgot. I don't know if they have a call of him online. So we gotta get Jay White. And I think Defrag is a good one, so we're just gonna... Yeah, there we go. Just got a Will Ospreay and a Kazuchika Okada. Didn't get a chance to look at what the heavyweight title looked like on a belt, but that's okay. Alright. And then, because we have Johnny Impact, John Moxley, Jay White, Chris Jericho, right? Does he not have a... Could have sworn he had a Chris Jericho variant. Oh, he's got Chris Brooks, Chris Danger. Look at all these Japanese belts, man. Alright, Jericho. There we go. This is a good one. No. What makes it say EW? Because he's got an AEW logo on his shirt that makes it EW. Disgusting. No, there was one that had like textured pants and stuff like that. Man, really about to use just like his regular model. Okay, title management. Custom, Johnny Impact, IC, Jay White, John Moxley. Look at that. And the champions are set. I really hope they don't have really shitty entrances. Yeah. I'm gonna be John Moxley. We're gonna use his second attire. Just because it's cooler. Jay White. I don't like that sound. We could do a title match. But for what title? Double title. Doing two favorites. It's gonna be the Raw's War Arena. I did not select a good arena, but that is fine. Alright, once this match is over, I will end the stream and then upload the belts to the CC so everyone can download them.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall and is for introducing the champion from Cincinnati, Ohio, weighing in at 225 pounds. He is the International Wrestling Grand Prix United States Champion, John Moxley.
I'm really proud
of those alliances.
Probably could have screwed on with the Saturday or something. I always get screwed tomorrow or something like that. All the kitties. I was working class, but at work. But I got tomorrow off.
And introducing the champion from Auckland, New Zealand, weighing in at 220 pounds, he is the International Wrestling Grand Prix Intercontinental Champion, Jay White.
A lot on the line here tonight in this fatal four-way match, guys.
You can say that again, Michael. Given who's involved in this one, a win here tonight could be monumental for one of these superstars.
Gonna take some screenshots of the belts in action. This one is have to build up the picture so then we've got a defense of action. So you can see the WWE Championship.
And introducing the challenger from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, Weighing in at 227 pounds, he is the AWA champion, Chris Jericho.
I like championship entrances that have the characters do something with it.
There's got to be a special moment for you, Saxton, getting to watch the Ayatollah of rock and roll sitting ringside, and you're the Sheik of Suck.
I take great offense to that term.
Intercontinental champion 9 times, which is a record. Former undisputed world champion.
A surefire future Hall of Famer, the one and only Chris Jericho.
I really hope that will not default. I think it's going to suck because
And introducing the challenger from Los Angeles, California, weighing in at 215 pounds, he is the Impact World Heavyweight Champion, John Morrison.
A big-time fatal four-way match coming up here, guys.
Which means, believe it or not, we're going to be sending away 3 of these superstars with a loss here tonight.
Took a picture of this double title. There we go. Look at that. Oh. The heart notes. The United States title. Looks so good. I'm going to keep an eye on
The 4-man in the ring are set. One of the most chaotic contests the superstar can compete in is a fatal four-way. Anything can happen, and the match can be over in an instant. Settle in, guys. This is going to be a blast. Strength here, guys.
Yeah, but think about all the choices might be socket.
Oh, nasty impact. Jericho is struggling a bit.
That is not going to let this opportunity slip so easily.
At this point, it's still anybody's match, Cole, but he's got to be careful not to take too much more punishment here if he wants to be the one walking away with the win.
Now the old vicious hot crank. Look at the torque. Look at the stiff neck. His shoulder down. And the count's broken.
Oh, God.
Keeping the match alive. It's not over yet.
You got to believe this one's over.
He gets it with a reversal. Goes down hard. He's looking at it. Kick to the face. Taking off his feet here.
It's moves like that that make him so dangerous.
He slips out. To me, that happened all doing pretty good. I guess not.
Talent has started to fall. But he's not appearing too much to work. Let's dive in here.
He obviously came into this match intent on taking the fight to the outside as much as he could. Though I'm not sure that's the right approach.
This is all part of the process, guys. We need who to take out some offense here tonight. He just has to make sure he
Do a fatal four-way just to see the rest of the belts afterwards. Just to solve the rest of the game.
Now inside the ring. Beautiful side
boy, he is rolling. Right across the back of the neck. Oh boy, he is rolling. Looked up.
The champ looking a little uneasy here.
We can also see a fatal four-way tag team match, which means...
Oh, check that.
The challenger simply will not be denied.
He's got the shoulders down. Inside the ring now. Not in a great place. The challenger's hopes of becoming champion appear to be in serious jeopardy right now. A second time. I like the combination punch. And there's the kick. Looked up. Belly back suplex. What a neck breaker. Keep your eye on this one. Avoids trouble there.
Boston crab. Work.
Warm up the belts. This one is over. This is Jericho's chance. Oh boy, he is rolling. Looking for the exclamation point. DDT. Nicely done. And will this be
Oh, that was almost good.
the champion put to the test in a major way. At this point, I don't think I like his chances of winning this four-way match. Not sure he's going to gas up in the tank when he's looking to answer the call. And there's the speed paying off. Gotta be careful not to get this close.
Oh, okay.
He's looking banged up here, guys. And it looks like things are about to get even worse. Looking so damage to the body. Down to the floor.
He can't withstand one big move.
Ooh, neck breaker. The champion is two. It's going to take a lot more than that to keep him down. Nope. To beat the Iron Floor on the rock and roll out, that's not going to do it. It's coming back to a suplex. Nice. He's making a staple here with this attack. Here we go. Beautiful. Swinging neck breaker. That should do it right now. False impact. Too quick for him there. Back me up.
Wrestling is the IWGP World Series and Intercontinental
That
Championship.
match is even better than advertised. Here's another look at that history-making encounter.
I can watch highlights of that one all night long. One of the great WWE matches I've ever been able to watch.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is your International Wrestling Grand Prix Intercontinental and John Oxley.
The referee's 3 count ends this one. And there's your winner, folks.
Sometimes you step in the ring and just refuse to lose. I think that's what we saw here tonight.
And that's the kind of action we've come to expect here on Raw.
Alright, thank you everyone for tuning into the stream. I will have these uploaded later tonight.